So we've been through 2 table wines. We've just went through 2 ports, one California style, one traditional Portuguese style. Now we're going to move on to a couple that you called aged style.
Spending more time in barrel before they're bottled.
Before they come out. And reminder to everyone watching, if you want to send us a question about port, cheese, or wine in general, the chat questions are open there. They're monitoring them here, and we'll try to get your chat question in. So let's move on to this next one. This is a neat little, cute little bottle here.
It is a cute little bottle.
Cute little bottle.
It's a stubby bottle.
Yeah, is there the thinking going into different kinds of bottles, different sizes?
Yeah, I mean, all the bottles, other than the table wines, which are your standard 750 format, all of our port style wines are done in a 500 ml, which I think is a nice size for these wines, rather than a half bottle.
Right.
750 often is a bit too much.
Right. And a lot of times a 500 milliliter bottle is going to have the same amount of alcohol as a full-on bottle, because it pack a little bit more punch into a port wine.
So we try to find molds that did not look like table wine molds, number one. So because we can't call it port directly on the label, we're trying to get people thinking of what might be in that bottle. And just the bottle shape itself visually starts to take you away from it necessarily being a table wine to possibly being something else, such as a fortified dessert style wine.
And I can instantly see this has more of a garnet color to it.
That's why it's tawny.
Which make tawny, and then also means to me it's aged. This is older, right?
And by definition, tawny ports are ports that are bottled with 7+ years of age on them. And often with Portuguese tawnies, you'll find the actual average age on the bottle with the better tawnies. 10-year-old tawny, 20-year-old tawny, 30-year-old tawny, even 40-year-old tawnies.
I mean,
I all passed away by the time we got 40-year-old tawny.
It's one thing to have the patience to grow a cab and put it in a barrel for 2 or 3 years and then try to make money off it after you've had 5 years into it. Yeah. This is 7 years before you're
It's a cash flow nightmare.
Yeah. It's not cash on hand at the port winemaker.
There's no money being made on it.
But it is, I mean, the tawny ports are for, I think for both Lola and I, are some of the ports that we really enjoy. There's a delicacy and a fineness of nuance that comes with the aging that you don't have with the younger ports because it's more fruit driven.
Right. I was going to say
just like a young one and an older one.
That's what I've learned tonight already to this point. This is the style of port that I find, not knowing what I'm doing, is really distinct, strong. Almost, after a full meal, you're like, whoa, And I've got a friend who's a port pusher. He's always pushing port on, it's time to get out the port. The younger ones are more fruity and a little softer, a little rounder, a little more approachable. This one is definitely more distinguished and more, it's got a very distinct sort of...
You get those caramel kind of qualities coming through, a little bit of the barrel aging process coming through. For me, the defining feature of a really good tawny port is that it finishes with almost that Cointreau or that orange rind liqueur kind of quality to it. Right. It's not bitter, but it has that kind of quality to it. And all really fine tawny ports seem to have that. Right.
And I'm talking about you, Tony. You know who you are. Port pusher. All right. So let's talk about the cheese that you've decided. We're just like we're aging the wines, we're aging the cheeses now, right?
Absolutely. And this cheese, which we picked to go with it, is one of our favorites right now. It's called Pleasant Ridge Reserve. It's coming out of Wisconsin. It's an amazing wash-drying cheese. So you'll get a little bit, if you smell it, you'll get a little bit of that stink out of it. It smells like your socks.
It does.
After you ran a marathon.
And before the show, you were thinking that was me. You didn't know that was actually the cheese you brought.
Right, exactly. But we love this pairing because this port has, so many different layers to it, and so does this cheese. I mean, the complexity of this cheese is just truly amazing, and I think the stinky quality of it really brings about a wonderful pairing.
It's amazing. It's just like wine can smell so different than it tastes. That's what happens with this. You smell this, and it's got that stinky feet kind of thing going, but on the palate, it is not.
Not at all.
You get none of that. None of that.
I love aged cheese.
It has the calcium crystals in there. You can feel that little bit of crunch.
Dude, and it almost, it makes this older wine pop like a younger wine. It makes it become, you get that more, the fruit is there and more.
A lot
You
of
can
kernel.
sense the layers, yeah.
Yeah, very much so. That is luxurious. What is going on right there?
I think that's how we described it when we
that
did
is
the pairing. It was luxurious.
That is flat out luxurious.
We were
All right.
happy about
Let's go back to the basics on this just a little bit, and a question for you, Steve. Meaning fortified. Literally, physically, what does that mean? What are you literally physically doing when you're fortifying?
You're adding, well, for us, we're adding basically what's referred to as fortification brandy. So it's grape-based brandy spirit that we're adding. I don't think every country necessarily, there's essentially grape vodka or high proof that you can add as well. The difference is the degree of what they call rectification or the purity of the spirit. When you're looking at high proof spirit, it's 95% alcohol. It's about as high as you can get coming out of a still. And when you're looking at lower rectified spirits, which we mainly buy and use for our ports, you're looking at something that's about 80% alcohol. And so with that as a factor, part of it is traditional because a lot of the Portuguese ports are made with lower rectified material, fortification material. But the other part of it is that alcohol has no sensation to it except for heat. There's no flavor dimension to it. In fact, vodka by definition, government definition, colorless, flavorless, odorless,
right.
So there you go. All you have is ethanol, alcohol, heat. When you work with a lower rectified spirit, the esters, the fruit esters, and the aldehydes that have qualities to them, in addition, the fusel oils or the higher alcohols that have palate feel qualities to them, are part of that heart run. You're still getting rid of your heads, and you're still getting rid of reusing your tails. But as far as that run over in the still, you're getting elements that add to the aroma and the flavor. Not even so much initially, but when you look at our real reason for using it is we want to replicate that aging profile that Portuguese port gets.
Right.
And you don't get it with just pure ethanol. You get it with these other elements being added to the wine so that during aging you come out with what they call these tertiary flavors and aromas.
All right, quick question about the husband and wife combo here. That was a fantastic answer, by the way. But do you ever think it just tastes good or it doesn't, honey? How much of the science sometimes do you want to just?
No.
Or do you get into the science as well?
I do, because when we had a bunch of alcohol or fortification material come in, we actually went through each. They were made from different wines, and we went through each barrel, or it was larger than a barrel, a drum, and we went through and smelled each one, and you can really smell the difference. There were some that were made from, I believe, Syrah and whatnot, and they smelled barnyard. This is alcohol,
right?
85% alcohol. And the Pinot Noir that we had done was beautiful and aromatic. So at first, yes, I'm like,
Pinot Noir is a great distilling grape.
Is that
right?
Beautiful distilling
beautiful.
grape.
So first I'm like, it's just alcohol, but no, I mean it really does. It makes a difference. I've had ports that are done with the higher proof, and there is a difference.
In order to do this as a husband and wife company, you both have to love this as much as possible. I mean, really.
She tolerates me.
No, it's. I mean, it's a lifestyle. It really is, and we're both passionate about it, so it makes it a little bit easier to work together.